Try these sex positions to last longer in bed. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to make the most of how long you can last by choosing the correct position to have sex. Now, I'm always amazed at how many men do not take into account the fact that the position actually has a lot of impact on how long they can last, especially when they haven't mastered their ejaculation yet. Once you've mastered it, you can go through any position and it's not an issue anymore. But if you haven't mastered it, position makes a big difference. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But before I do that, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Doing so greatly helps the channel. The algorithms depend on people liking the videos, subscribing, and sharing them. If you don't do those things, then they just bury the videos and nobody gets to see them. I want as many people as possible to see these videos and benefit from them, have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives, and I would really appreciate it if you help me do that. Hey everybody, I am Kevin Anthony, Certified Sexologist, Tantra Counselor, NLP Practitioner, and Sex, Love, and Relationship Coach. And for over 10 years, I have been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you a list of sex positions that will help you last longer. And they are sort of in order of which ones will help you the most down to which ones will help you the least. And I'll explain why each one of them is good or not good. The first one is a side position. And preferably, my favorite version of this one when it comes to lasting longer is where she is laying flat on her back. You are laying on your side and you're at an angle to her body and she's got one leg over top of you and you are penetrating her that way. A couple of things that I like about this position when it comes to lasting longer. The first one is you, as the man, are actually in control. You get to control the speed, the depth, the intensity, right? So anytime you're in control, you have an opportunity to adjust based on where you are at on your arousal scale. The other thing about this position is it allows you to pretty much relax. It doesn't take a lot of muscle energy. You don't have to hold yourself up in any particular position, which allows you to relax the muscles surrounding your genitals. And remember, tension equals ejaculation. If you can relax those muscles, then you have a decreased risk of ejaculating before you want to. So the side position can be a really good one to have, generally a little bit slower sex, but you're in control, you're minimizing the sensations, you're minimizing the tension. You also get to look at her, you get to use your hands because they're not holding you up, so you can stimulate other parts of her body, thereby giving her more pleasure without unnecessarily increasing the amount of sensations that you as a man are feeling. So it's a great position to help you last longer. The second sex position to help you last longer is a seated position. There are several different variations of this. You may have heard it referred to as yab yum, which is more of the tantric word for the seated position. That's generally where you as a man are seated, sitting down. You can either have your legs out in front of you, you can have them crossed, you could potentially be in a chair, and the woman is going to come and straddle you and sit on top. Now, why is this a good position to last longer? The reason is because there's less movement, less motion in general. In this position, there's not a lot of in, out with long strokes. Now there can be, and you will see that sometimes in porn movies, but the reality is for that to happen, that's going to require her to use a lot of muscle energy with her legs to move up and down a lot. She might do that a little bit, but most likely she's not going to do that long term. The only reason they do that in porn movies is because it looks good, because you can see more. But the reality is, for most people in a seated position, there's not going to be a lot of up and down movement. There'll be a little bit more of her moving her hips forwards and backwards, which can be stimulating. It can be very stimulating for her, especially if your genitals are compatible and you can touch the right places inside of her. But it generally isn't overly stimulating for you as the man. So even though she's on top and even though she's technically in control of the movement, the type of movement that's occurring tends to be more stimulating for her, a little bit less stimulating for you, which is great because that's not going to send you over your sweet spot and to your point of no return. All right, the third position for lasting longer is the tried and true man on top missionary position. Now, this one is third down on the list for a couple of reasons, but it's still on the list for a main primary reason, and that is this. When you are on top, you are in control. So you get to decide how fast you're going to go, how hard you're going to go, the depth of penetration, the length of stroke. All of these things are things that you can control. You can speed up, you can slow down, you can pause for a little bit. So if you are aware of where you are at on your arousal scale, and you're paying attention to where you're at on the arousal scale, you can adjust your movements based on that. That allows you, if you're getting too close, to back it down. Or if you're way down at the bottom, to bring it up. You get to control where your arousal and sensation level is. And that's what makes it a good position for lasting longer. However, there are a few downsides. As I said, when you are on top, it is requiring generally a fair amount of muscle energy to hold yourself up. So if you're not in the best shape, or if you haven't really learned how to isolate all of the muscles that are doing the thrusting, right? So that you can control your pelvic floor muscles separate from those glutes that are really contracting in this position, or even your hamstrings or your abs, which are also really contracting. If you haven't learned how to do that yet, you can create a lot of tension, which could potentially lead you towards ejaculation. However, you've always got control in this position, so you have the ability to slow down if you get too close. All right, the last sex position to last longer is on the bottom of the list for a pretty darn good reason. However, it's still on the list for the same primary reason that missionary was, and that is that you have control. So what position am I talking about? I am talking about doggy style. So in this one, you again have control. You are the one that gets to decide the speed, the depth, the intensity, all of that. Just like with missionary position, you get to slow down and stop if you need to. So that does give you some control. However, the downside to this position is that many men find it highly, highly stimulating and arousing. If that's the case, this position can potentially send you over your edge and into the point of no return and ejaculation much sooner than you want. So be careful when experimenting with this one. If you are having difficulty controlling your ejaculation, this probably isn't the best position, or maybe it's one that you only want to do for a little bit and then transition into another position. Which brings me to the point of you don't always, in fact, you shouldn't stay in the same position. So use these positions to your advantage. Move in and out of them based on where you are at. Obviously, you want to take into consideration her and how she's feeling and what she's wanting and needing in that moment. But there's a lot of room here to play around with different positions in order to help you last longer. And of course, it's always great if you enroll your partner and let her know why you are doing these things. Trust me, it is to her advantage. The longer you last, the greater the chances are that she's going to have an orgasm. The greater the chances are that she might have more than one. The greater the chances are that she might have something other than just a clitoral orgasm, like a G-spot or a cervical orgasm, which generally for most women feel a lot more powerful. Those cervical orgasms are those like earthquake, ground shaking, blow your mind type. She wants that. She absolutely wants that. And so if you can enroll her in helping you get her to that point, then it's definitely to her and your advantage. So play around with these positions, use them to help both you and her, and I guarantee that you will be able to last longer, especially if you incorporate these with all of the other tools that I teach on this channel, and you will have better sex. All right, I hope that you found this video helpful. Please check out other videos. I have a ton of videos on this channel. There's a whole playlist dedicated to how to be better at sex. Go check out some of those videos. Also, listen to the Love Lab podcast. You can do so right here on this channel. You can also do it on any major podcast platform. Lastly, please go to my website at kevinandceline.com. Check out the Work With Me tab. If you need help with any of this stuff, this is just one small piece when it comes to mastering your ejaculation. If you want to learn how to master your ejaculation, if you want to learn how to, power up your erections, if you want to learn how to be a sexual master in the bedroom, if you want to learn how to have the best relationship of your life, the one that it just blows your mind and all your friends are envious of, then check that out. I can absolutely help you get there.